Do you feel like Puffy owe you?
Yeah, he think he should look out. He look out for everybody, you know what I'm saying?
Do you feel like Puffy, oh, you better believe it figure he ought to peer out? He pays special attention to everyone. You understand what I'm talking about. I see brought that buddy. What's the trepidation of Keefe D in 2023 sent shockwaves all through the whole business with each new disclosure? The case has developed progressively perplexing, leaving both people in general and examiners puzzled. Now there are murmurs that few craftsmen related with Tupac Puff they went to H with a DV, like it. Assuming that I knew Puff at that, assuming I knew would have called down to this. I ought to have realized better might approach to reveal insight into Diddy's indicated association with the Tupac M case. Many are left considering the reason why these specialists are currently supposedly able to affirm, possibly putting Diddy in critical risk over the course of the years since Diddy established the Terrible Kid record mark. He appears to have fostered a skill for transforming his once faithful special is into foes. The intentions behind their readiness to possibly hurt him are various and convincing. First of all, we have Tupac's sibling Mopr Shakur, who in a meeting 2 months prior uncovered that he hasn't heard a single thing from the examiner's office concerning the case currently. Mopur's greatest concern is that something off-putting could be happening in the background in light of the fact that in spite of Keefe D embroiling Diddy in the entirety of his meetings, the arraignment hasn't affected get the music tycoon. Haven't heard anything about Puffy from the examiner's office, despite the fact that Keefe D ensnares him on these recordings. Notwithstanding this, Mofrey likewise uncovered that Diddy once called him trying to demonstrate his innocence. In this genuine call, did he expect to pass on a message that was both clear and surprising? He needed Mopra to know unequivocally that he had no inclusion in the lamentable passing of Tupac Shakur. Simply need to call you man, tell, let you in. On that, I don't have anything to do with your siblings passing now. For what reason was he calling me, contacting me? The way that at the hour of this discussion, Mopper and Puffy had never met face to face adds a layer of interest to this strange effort. It's a second when Puffy felt an earnest need to stand up to the tireless charges and hypotheses that had been twirling around him in association with Tupac's strange homicide. The impetus for this call was a critical article in the Los Angeles Times. The article had surfaced around similar period, and effect was stupendous. It contained charges straightforwardly involved Puffy and the occasions encompassing Tupac's homicide. This disclosure sent shockwaves through the hip-hop local area, giving occasion to feel qualms about new vulnerability. Puffy's job in the frightful occasions of that portentous night in Las Vegas, back in 1996. Notwithstanding these mounting difficulties and the genuine anxiety toward capture or legitimate results, Puffy willingly volunteered to contact the Shakur family and pass his blamelessness. His longing was on to demonstrate his innocence and suppress the rising tempest of theory and uncertainty that encompassed him. He trusted that by tending to the charges head-on, he could keep what is going on from spiraling out wild and stay away from any potential lawful repercussions. This effort to Malpur was an endeavor to attest his guiltlessness, to reveal his sensations of weakness, and to repair a complicated relationship that had been stressed by long stretches of public hypothesis and examination, as well as calling Mopur Shakur Diddy. Additionally, went on to freely deny the cases that had been made by the newspaper. Comes emphatically denied the paper's case, credited to FBI records and restrictive meetings that he knew two of his companions intend to snare C at a New York City music studio. It is past, ludicrous, and totally bogus, calm said in an explanation after the Times site posted the report. I'm stunned that the Los Angeles Times would be so flighty as to distribute a ridiculous and totally false story. The paper asserted that two of Calm's partners, James Jimmy Thug Roseman and Jimmy Sabatino, helped stage a burglary of Shakur subsequent to offering the late rapper $7,000 to record a track at the studio on the night being referred to anyway. Mopper answered Diddy's bring in a mix of appreciation and suspicion. He offered thanks for Puffy's endeavor to explain his situation and aims recognizing the weightiness of the circumstance that Puffy regarded himself as in any way. Mopper was likewise mindful, so as to highlight that the total reality of the situation was as yet slippery. At any rate, someone else who is probably going to affirm in Tupac's case is Mike Tyson in a real-to-life interview with DJ Vlad. Mike Tyson made a sincere admission recognizing that he conveys a portion of liability regarding the sad end of the famous rapper. This startling disclosure has left the world in shock and reignited extreme peace. Rimium in the persevering through secrets encompassing Tupac's less than ideal passing makes sense of that Tupac who let the Indiana Dark exhibition needed to meet me. And that is the principal day I met this affirmation not just carries new viewpoint to the conditions encompassing Tupac's passing. Yet, in addition, uncovers the perplexing embroidery of interconnected lives drove by these two persuasive figures. The fellowship between a fighter and a lobbyist might have seemed eccentric, yet it was evil. Dentally bona fide, everything started when Iron Mike Tyson had rose to fame while Tupac was all the while endeavoring to cut out his own heritage. Their fates met inside the bounds of a dance club where the hopeful rapper flabbergasted the baddest man on earth with his remarkable melodic gifts were truly old buddies, truly old buddies. I didn't spend time with him much, he didn't hang out yet. We were all generally welcome when we saw each other, he was dependably free to be with me besides the Alling vocalists' enthusiasm for boxing filled in as a strong impetus, moving them even nearer their common energy for the game turned into the establishment for their expanding companionship, provoking them to get to know each other and support a steady obligation of brotherhood. You a club one night. I think it was one of Matty Johnson's gatherings that when enchantment them left and all that he needed to come in and in a beverage champions meeting facilitated by DJ Effin and No, which was delivered. Ed, on June 11th last year, Mike Tyson genuinely examined his 1,992 jail insight during the meeting. He described a genuinely amazing experience with the unbelievable West Coast craftsman that made all in all an upheaval during his visit. This paramount occurrence happened at an all-nighter held at the Palladium on Dusk in California. Iron Mick guided security to allow a gathering of young fellows to enter through the scene's back entrance, and among those people one was, in all honesty, Tupac himself. Once he came into the meeting room, and there was this large number of hillbilly hicks mean Aryan folks. When he came up, everyone began applauding. Tyson said they regarded him soon as he came in the room. They began extolling before this disclosure on the Beverage Champions meeting Mike Tyson had recently imparted this fascinating story to DJ Who youngster close by. Previous NBA players Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson during an episode of his Hot Boxing digital recording. This conversation came to fruition after the New York DJ had featured the extraordinarily uncommon fine art in Tyson's control, exhibiting the spellbinding Machiavelli collection cover work of art highlighting Tupac. The gatekeepers are saying that Ish hell stop plunk down, he was a power. Tyson told Barnes Jackson and youngster of the experience, assuming he adored you. It was all affection, yet in the event that he could have done without you. He searched for hamburgers some of the time. He believed that you should know he was